Hello there, my Lagoon Loungers. It's Leah, obviously. Sparkle, 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 sparkle. We're going to be talking about how does your product use or challenge conventions and how does it represent social groups or issues. We're also going to be doing this while showcasing some of my art. You can't really see it, but we'll get to it. I do want to put a trigger warning in the beginning because this is going to be posted on YouTube. Some of the art I will be showing is heavy and it is quite graphic. It includes self-harm, suicide, feeling trapped, eating disorders, dissociative identity disorders. So if you guys are like a little bit about that, please just skip this part, skip this video, get it out of the way. You can just read more about it in my blog. And I mean, yeah, that's about it. Let's get started. So when talking about conventions, the camera shots and angles, their movements and stuff, we used a lot of high angles, POV shots, wide shots, I think they're called, or angles, over the shoulder. A lot of those shots, they're very common in the filming world. And we use these because Cassidy, our main antagonist, yeah, because she's evil. So our main antagonist, because it basically shows the power she holds against her victims and her wife and all that other stuff. So we use that. We use POV to really show the intensity of what's going on, and it's mostly seen through Cassidy's POV and what she's doing, because you see in my opening sequence the POV shot of her slamming the knife sharpener and her knife on the counter, the POV shot of her trying to open the bathroom door to get to Lucy, and yada yada. It doesn't really challenge it because we didn't really need establishing shots, aerial shots, all of that stuff that really just shows like the entirety of everything. So it really didn't necessarily challenge it. I think we did pretty good with the angles, shots, and movements. We also used tilting and panning. The one that goes up and down, I think that one's tilting. No, tilting, panning, I don't know, but it was one of those. We did use one of those. So that is camera angles and movements. First art piece. I did not cook with that. This is my eating disorder project. It's a stomach. All of this is ceramic, made by hand. A plate. It's basically representing how a person eats away their stomach, or they're just consuming until they're just, you know. So it basically represents anorexia and bulimia. This doesn't have really anything to do with the film, and I can't really connect it in any way, so there's not really much to say. Now talking about lighting and color schemes. We used a lot of natural lighting. Excuse me. We used it because we filmed this in the daytime, and the lighting, we didn't really use any other lighting. The lights of the house weren't on, nothing like that. We just used the sun coming in from the window. Pretty boring and basic. Now the color schemes. I'm very excited about this. We used as I talked about in my last video, check it out. I talked about how when you see the opening of our opening sequence, it's red, and that shows Cassidy's anger. She's furious. She's feeling vile. She's feeling evil. It's to show how it's basically representing Cassidy's rampage, her rage, and she's going on a hunt to kill Lucy. And this red, it's said to be shown for anger, agony, like things like that. For reference, in The Shining, there was an elevator scene where it poured blood out and yada yada. That was to show like basically like horror, like, you know. Right here I'm gonna put what I'm trying to say because I'm not really good with words, but basically that's what it shows. And a lot of directors and other people in that category, I need a sip. in that category use the color red to represent basically like insanity, crazy, scary, anger, fear, rage, a bunch of that. And we use that in the beginning because obviously it's focusing more on Cassidy than it is Lucy. But going backwards in time, it goes to black and white. We use black and white because when learning in class, we watched a video about different colors and their meanings, and how a lot of horror movies use black and white to really show like the suspense and thriller of it. We use black and white. In my opinion, I think our film uses it to show how just colorless Cassidy's world is, how she feels so empty and alone, how she feels so trapped in her body, how she feels so trapped in a world that's not hers. I really think color theory plays a big part. We use a lot of dark colors, especially with props and stuff, but you do see in Cassidy's hair a bright bow. It's a white bow, and that just shows, I guess, her like just purity, but like that it's fading away, that there's not really much of it left in her. And honestly, that's all I have to say. That's all I think. Now, talking about my project number dos. So I don't know if you can see that. Oh, look at that. Yeah, you can see a little person inside of here. Beautiful. And this project is to represent feeling trapped. The chains around it show how no matter how hard you try, there's no really getting out of it. You're always gonna feel trapped. You're always gonna feel like you're in this box that you can't escape out of. Basically how this connects to my theme. Cassidy is forced into something that she doesn't want to be in. Her father abused her mentally and really just messed her up as a person. And so you can see in one of my blog posts, there's a TV thing with a girl inside, and I basically discuss how Cassidy feels trapped and she has nowhere to escape to. She doesn't know how to leave this. She doesn't know how to escape this, and it's really just tragic. Now, talking about sound effects and music. So, the sound effects we used were pretty eerie. We used eerie sound effects. We used just very like low, mysterious sound as our background before the dialogue comes in. And for music, we used the song Volcano Girls. I'm not sure who it's by because my oh my goodness gracious, because my editor actually picked the song and knows more about that song than I do. I don't really know much about that song. I don't listen to them, but I will leave the link down below in the description. We use this song just, I'm not sure why. Maybe if you check out our editor's video, she'll tell us why. But we use that music. That's the only music we use besides our eerie sound effects that we put. You also can hear different sound effects like the doorbell ringing. That adds a lot because it just shows you a main checkpoint of what. Hold on. Sorry about that. I got interrupted. But these sound effects are to add suspense. They're to add like the viewer. It's supposed to add a feeling to the viewer where they're like, huh, what does this mean? Why is this happening? Like, what's about to happen? You can hear Cassidy sharpening her knife, slamming things down. You can hear a bunch of different sound effects. This creates an atmosphere where you can see Cassidy's frustration and anger built up, and she's about to go on a rage and just go ballistic. So that's I'd say our film doesn't really challenge it, but once we get to our next section, editing, it does challenge it. So artwork time. Here we have a structure. She was supposed to have another mask here. It's a it was supposed to be a flame to show anger, but here you can see how happy, fearful, and then her head tilts so you can see that it's sad. So this one's supposed to represent dissociative identity disorder, which means a person with multiple personalities. And though our film doesn't have that, these masks can actually just represent how Cassidy feels on the inside. There's scenes in the film where it shows Cassidy is happy, yay! But really deep down, Cassidy's sad. Aww. And Nobody really wonders why Cassidy's sad. I mean, because she is a killer, so why would they even ask that? And Cassidy's confusion, her fear. She doesn't know what would happen if she left this cult. She doesn't know what will happen if she ever tried to do anything to just stop it all. The anger she feels. If I can find the mask, I'll upload a picture like right here. But basically the anger she has towards her father. They haven't been in contact for years, but yet he's gonna show up to their doorstep. Strange. Trigger warning for the next piece. This one is self-harm. So if you do want to skip over this, skip over. I'll put the timestamps here once I finish editing and get a video of this video. So, the next one we're going to be talking about is editing techniques. I don't really know much about these editing techniques because my editor, I'll put her blog here and down below. All I know is we used CapCut, and we used a series of sound effects and different fonts. I'm not sure what font it is. If I can find it, I'll ask her what font we used. And we used different texts, different sound effects, different transitions, a bunch of stuff. We used the clock to represent the time switch. We did a lot. I guess it does challenge it because really we didn't have the right materials and we just don't know a really good editing app, but I feel like we did edit it to the best of our ability, and I feel like it came out pretty good. Obviously, best film out there. Go check it out. Go check out our opening sequence. We basically just used a bunch of that. I don't really have much to say about editing, but it's, I don't know, art time. So this right here represents self-harm. I did have the idea of putting barbed wire around the wrists, but I didn't quite get to that, so I didn't do it. But it's quite tragic because people who go through depression and a bunch of other things can struggle with this, and if you have this issue and you're not feeling like you're in the right mental space, please go check out other resources. There's many reasons for you to stay. Thank you. But I did initially want, in the original idea, I did want Cassidy to self-harm with glass, like to feel pain, to feel something, so she doesn't feel like she's alone. Like she needs to feel some sort of emotion, some sort of feeling. But it is very tragic, and the next one will connect to the film. So this is that piece. Now we're going to be talking about character archetypes. I genuinely think that means stereotypes. We do have a final girl, and I think quick research break. What? Okay, the final girl is a single person who will emerge as the survivor from the story, and that survivor will most likely be worthy. Their survival will serve to underline the moral message of the tale. Our final girl will be Lucy, because Cassidy ends up killing herself in the end. And that's because once her father comes in, she kills her father and then she kills herself. Because she feels like that's the only way she can escape this, and the only way that she'll ever be free from this cult and have that way to let go. So that's our character stereotype. I feel like there's a bunch of more stereotypes, but I'm just going based off a thing I have here. But that is our character stereotype. Final piece of art I will be showcasing. This is suicide. Oh. So here we have a variety of pills with a skull. And these pills, actually I didn't know this until I made it. You can put them inside. They don't fall out unless you shake them out. And this is to represent an overdose. But Cassidy doesn't overdose. She stabs herself in order to save Lucy, because deep down she has that love for her. Even though she did try to kill her, she has that love, but it wasn't her fault that she was made that way. Her father forced her into this, and she felt like, okay, right, Cassidy kills herself in order to save Lucy from her, because Cassidy realizes she's a danger to herself, and she really just comes to her senses near the end, and she's like, wow, I don't want to live this life anymore. So she just ends it all. And that's that project. The plot structure, I'd say, is just overall a slow, I wouldn't say it's a slow burn, but it takes a lot to really get to the part where it talks about how it's really the reunion, why it's called the reunion. Not much to say about that. So our film represents social groups or issues by overall having the theme of cults and mental illness. Really, it talks about how religious psychosis is a real thing, and it causes a lot of trauma and PTSD towards a person, and it's a major issue because it's just something that's not really talked about, and people just push it away as, oh, it's their God talking to them, oh, it's this and that. But no, you're hearing voices, you're seeing people. That's not normal. There's a difference between faith and just psychosis, and you can still be religious in a way that you're not crazy. Like, you can be faithful, you can put your hope into something, but not just rely on them, make them think that they're changing you, like, drastically. I think it's absolutely quite crazy. This would mostly focus on the people of cults, the survivors, the members, and all of that, because that's the social group. And people just blindly, I guess, walk in the dark because people don't know much about really religion in a way, or people don't really know much about cults. And in my blog, I talk a lot about the cults and how just tiring and how brutal and vile these people can be towards children, adults, teenagers, everybody. It's very disturbing. I say our film is definitely for teenagers and over. I'd say 16 and over, 15, maybe 14 and over. It's just brutality, and people really just don't deserve to live like that. It's definitely a major issue, but really there's nothing we can do unless we just spread awareness and put it out there in the world so more people know about it. There's not really much else to talk about, so we're gonna wrap this video up. Thank you guys for watching. Video 3 will be out soon, and that one, you'll be in for a treat. It'll be very fun, very cool, very awesome. And yeah, thank you for watching my video about common film conventions. Toodles!